My privilege to get to attend to the public reading of Scripture with you this morning. Please turn with me to Proverbs Chapter 31, verses 25 through 29. That's Proverbs Chapter 31, verses 25 through 29. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth in wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and bless her, her husband also, and he praises her, saying, "Many daughters have done nobly, but you excel them all."
Thank you, Charles. We certainly are glad that you are here as we acknowledge the one day of the year that we are mindful of actually not to take our moms for granted. This is the one day that we do that, isn't it? We were so grateful for the work that our moms do, and want to wish our moms a happy Mother's Day today. And certainly we know that there's a lot said about moms in the Bible. I say moms because mothers, seems so informal, and I know there are mothers that are out there, but it's been said so many times that it takes a special someone to be a mom, and not just a mother. Just as there's special someone to be a dad, just not just a father. But I am grateful for my mom. I'm thankful for the sacrifices that she made, and I know that you are too, with those who have that close relationship with them, and certainly grateful that there are so many that care about their families. If you would, turn over to Proverbs Chapter 31. I want to spend this morning in this. We're going to stay in Proverbs Chapter 31. And how interesting this is, because this is a chapter that probably gets more attention than any other regarding women. And we see in Proverbs 31, usually when people go to Proverbs 31, they go straight to verse number 10. And as the writer of this, and most people believe, and I believe that it's Solomon that wrote this proverb, as he did most of the other ones as well. And we'll look at that in just a moment. But Proverbs 31:10, he writes, "Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies." And we see this verse read so many different times. It is the theme of a lot of different ladies' days. It is the theme of a lot of ladies' Bible classes, and we see this verse, we hear this verse read at a lot of weddings. We hear this verse even read at a lot of funerals, that in describing a woman that is very faithful to God, and certainly that is the case when we that indicates such. But what I very seldom hear is who inspired this entire proverb to begin. If you look back at verse 1, it says the words of King Lemuel, and King Lemuel is commonly referred to as, or known as Solomon by most commentators and so forth. But it says the words of King Lemuel, the utterance, which look at this right here, which his mother taught him. And as you go on with this entire proverb of chapter 31, this is something that his mother had given to him, this advice that she had given to him in selecting a mate that would definitely benefit him and get him closer to God, one that would definitely get their family closer to God. But it all came from his mom, who inspired him to write this. It says the utterance which his mother had taught him. And most historians, as well as commentators, believe that the mother that was referring to with Solomon is Bathsheba, and which indicates also that Solomon was not the only wise one in his family. There were other ones, and he learned a great deal from those who are around him. And that's what a wise individual will do, is that he will listen to the advice and listen to the wisdom of his mother. And they have so much to impart. And I'm so glad that Solomon wrote this, because it really does give us an idea of how mothers of how they feel, towards their children, especially their sons, selecting the right individual to be with them. And they're expected to be with them for this life at least, and being the great mother, and selecting someone to be a great mother to their children, and a great woman in that household. But as you look at this, I want to take a look at all the best moms. We see, we see so many great ones, but all the best moms really do have certain things in common. And I want to take a look at this morning at some of these different things, these traits that all the best moms that we're able to read about, all the best moms that excel in what Solomon is writing here, and how much of an impact that they make towards their families, how grateful we are for them. As we look at this, you look down at verse 26, you see how all the best moms worry about saying and doing the right things. I don't think there is a responsible parent out there that doesn't worry about making sure that they are that good example to their children, making sure that they are saying the right things, and certainly we want our children to grow up in a household and an environment that they are going to take that and take it with them out into the world and share with other people. But it doesn't take very much. When you look at an individual, a child, when the child is damaged or they're not very disciplined, the first people that that are brought up is mom and dad, isn't it? What kind of a household do they have? What kind of a family do they have? Maybe it's a broken family or whatever the case might be. Not always the case, but certainly the parents are the ones that have the spotlight on them. They're the ones in the hot seat when people look at the children. And so parents, especially all the moms, are worried about saying and doing the right things. If you look at verse 26 of what Solomon writes, and with his mom imparting, in other words, his mom saying to him, this is the kind of woman that I would like you to be with. This is the kind of woman that I would like you to choose. Going back to verse 1. And he says, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. What an amazing example that is. What an illustration that is to her children. Moms have a difficult task, but they also have the ability of keeping everything under control, don't they? In the house. Moms are, they are credited with so much with keeping things organized, and especially when dad's not always there, and even when dad is there. Sometimes especially when dad's there. They know how to keep control at home. When you look at Titus chapter 2 and verse 5, and that's the only time I'm going to go out of Proverbs 31, but Titus 2:5, it talks about the older women, how they are to be homemakers. That is to keep, to be keepers at home. That does not mean that they just can't, they can't work, but it means when they are home that they are to keep that home. They're the one, they make sure that that home is running properly. That, we know that there is a role for mothers. We know there's a role for fathers that God purposed in marriage. And while the father is to be that spiritual leader and the leader of that household are expected to be, it's the mother who does a lot of the keeping at home, making sure everything is going, is in the right place, and making sure that the children are getting what they need to. I'm grateful beyond measure to my wife because I'm not there a lot of the time. And during the day, we homeschool. Not every parent does that, but she makes sure that that home is an environment that is safe. That's one that I know that my son is going to know that it's a spiritual home. It's one that has God in it. And we know that when people visit, that God is going to be present. And she does such a great job with it, and that's what moms do. But a mother, it's heartbreaking sometimes because, mothers are bad about beating themselves up. I think they're so many moms are hard on themselves with how other people view them. Because you look at it, and we're mentioning children, how other people do look at the parents with children, but any disobedient child, you think about this, any disobedient child, any imperfection with her family, and a mom is going to take it personally. It weighs on her shoulders. She looks at that household and any comments that come her way. And that's why we need to be really careful, and especially in the church, as we look and try to build up these families and build up, raising our children and so forth. Don't set the bar so high that it is unfair for a parent to reach. I think parents get such a, it's so unfair the way that we sometimes treat them, and that, we look at the child, and if the child isn't always there, Ezekiel 18:20 talks about how, the child is not they're not responsible for their father, and the father is not responsible for their child. But so many times we blame the mother, blame the father for a disobedient child, or if something's wrong, if a family is broken. But she does it's because she takes it personally. It's why a responsible parent, a responsible mom especially, is not going to allow her daughter to dress immodestly before she goes out of that house. Or a young man, they're looking at them and they are making sure that they go out and they're going to be respectable because they know other people are watching them, the other people are judging them, and she feels that it is going to be a reflection on her before she sends them out. She wants to she wants to protect her daughter anyway, and the integrity that she wants her daughter to maintain. And so we see that she does certain things, and it's why she good parent, a good mom, make sure that her boys change their clothes and they bathe. They wear deodorant during the day because that's a reflection. But moms are so hard on themselves in so many different areas, and we need to, we need to be sensitive and sympathetic towards what they're trying to do in their house. And I'm not just talking about biological mothers. I would really want to bring to light this morning as well. There are single parents out there. I grew up in a single parent home, and I'm so grateful for the work that my mom did, because I know it's not easy. And I know that single mothers are judged a lot of the time, and judged harshly. I'm so grateful for single moms and just the difficult task they have sometimes. The stepmoms who come into a family later on, they're not always accepted right away, are they? Moms of children with disabilities. These are people who face the pressure and the unique challenge of raising children to feel important instead of underestimated. What great examples and what great spiritual leaders moms can be to their young ones who are in that home. And just as important, all the best moms want the best for their family. They don't just want to say the right things, they don't want to just do the right things, but they have their family's welfare in mind. They will put their family before themselves so many different times and make sure that their family has things that not even themselves might have. You look at verse 15 of Proverbs 31. He writes, she also rises while it is yet night. How many moms have gotten up before that alarm clock goes off or before the sun comes up and make sure that everything is already going for the day? That the breakfast is being made, clothes are being washed, so whatever tasks are at home. But he says she rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. Now, not very many people I know, if any, have maidservants. Not today like they did then, but you think of what this mindset is of a mom getting up before anyone else, and they want to make sure that their family is provided for, that their family has everything that they possibly could have that they need for that day. And not only that, you look at verse 27, and it says she watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. She is faithful to God. She makes sure that her day is not just spent sitting in front of the TV. There's a lot of moms that are just, their whole day is just filled with things to do, isn't it? And sometimes it never gets done. Sometimes they have to put it off until tomorrow, which puts them that much further behind tomorrow. And that trickles down for the rest of the week. But they are just constantly working, constantly doing something, so they're not just sitting around. Think of all the things that our moms have done for us. Moms have fed us. They have protected us. They have comforted us. They have provided for us. We know that dads are very instrumental in all of this, but moms do this so well day in and day out. How many times did she put off a need that she had? A need that she had to purchase a want that we had. How many bedtime stories were just made up on the spot to get us to go to sleep? Remember all those stories that your mom told you and you just wanted to hear more or a different story? Or you did hear a story and you wanted her to do all the voices and play all the characters in that book? And they did it to help us relax enough that we could go to sleep. How many times did Mom risk her life to face the monster in the closet or the monster under the bed? I remember my mom. I had this. I had a plastic sword near my bed, and I remember Mom used to use that sword more than one occasion to battle that beast. How many life-threatening scrapes and bumps did she administer her expert medical attention by applying just the right Band-Aid? And we knew it was life-threatening because boys know how to really embellish things when we fall, don't we? I had a low pain threshold when I was growing up, which probably drove my mom crazy because everything was it was the worst of the worst that I could have gotten. I don't know how many times remember I can't remember what you call it, the thing that spins around and you're holding on and you just go around and around, you fall off and what was it? The merry-go-round, I guess. Or I asked my mom, am I going to die? She said, no, you're not going to die, but just come here and we'll put ice on it. I had a mom who would just tell me, you know what, rub dirt on it and just walk it off. So, but they took care of us, didn't they? And here we are, we're just fine today, so they must have done something right. How many hours did she offer her professional counseling services when your boyfriend or girlfriend broke up with you and they were the one? First person you went to, Mom. Why? Oh, because Mom knows. She understands me. But that's what they are, aren't they? They're doctors, they're counselors, they're warriors, they're all these different things that we have in our lives, our moms. There is perhaps no greater human love than that of a mom. Human love. Because they love us unconditionally. And even when we make decisions that are going to hurt ourselves or hurt others, or they love us. We don't always agree with them, but they love us. And they want the very best for us. And very often it's those decisions that we don't agree with and that we will fight them tooth and nail on. But we look back and realize why they were doing it. All the best moms deserve all the best recognition. You look at verse 25. Solomon writes, strength and honor are her clothing. I love that. She's clothed in strength. That's who Mom was. She was strong. Not just physically strong, but she was so emotionally strong in that, when there was something that she was dealing with, a problem or an issue that went deep, she made sure that we did not feel it too. Sometimes that's healthy, sometimes it's not. But she wanted to make sure that we always saw her as someone who loved us and would protect us at all costs. She's clothed in this strength. She's clothed in this honor that she certainly deserves, and she shall rejoice in time to come. And then you look at verse 28. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful, beauty is passing, But a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. What a mother to tell her son, who is a king, this is the kind of woman that I would like you to have. This is the kind of woman that you deserve to marry. A woman who fears the Lord. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gate. See, moms are always going to be hard on themselves. But moms need to realize how valuable you are. That you are worthy of every compliment that you receive, of every hug that you receive from your children or other people. You deserve it. Doesn't mean that they're perfect, and they know that. In fact, very many times they struggle with that. Sometimes mistakes are made. But all the best moms are the best for a reason. We love you, moms. But as great as that love is, there's a love that's even greater. And it's a love that every mom who loves the Lord first want their children to be able to experience. The love of the Lord. Can you imagine being with someone forever? You know, we think of this life and just how all the years that go by in our childhood and just how much we appreciate our moms in this life and how thankful we are. Can you imagine being with someone for all time who loves you even deeper than your mom? We can't fathom that. We go through our childhood and, we ask our moms for advice. We seek so many different things from them. They take care of us. Imagine someone that loves you even more. We know there are damaged homes as well, and how sad that is. Imagine that it doesn't always have to be like that. But as much as his mother's sacrifice, Christ sacrificed even more. All the best moms will cheer for their own household to get to heaven. There's not going to be a person behind you or more than mom or dad. But here's the thing, it is up to you to decide whether or not you're going to be there. It's based on what you do and your decisions, on your faith, and how strong that is at the end of this life. Maybe it's time to stop holding back from repenting. Maybe it's time to stop holding back from being baptized and not just become a part of a household that you have right now with a mom who loves you so much, so profoundly. But it's time to become a part of a royal and eternal household. And how much greater that it will even be than the one that you have right now in your physical house. Maybe something in your life needs to be resolved. Now's a good time to ask for prayer. Folks, I want to encourage you before you leave today, because I guarantee there's no one that wants you to do it more than mom, to come forward if you have something that needs to be taken care of so that you can resolve it. She wants you to get to heaven, but even more, the Christ wants you to be there. If you have something to take care of today, let's stand and sing. You can come forward during this invitation.